Today we're going to be tying the infallible BWO. It's infallible because it's got turkey, chicken, and duck feathers. If you're able to persevere and get past my super excellent fly naming, I've got a Firehole 419 dry fly hook in the vise. This one's a size 16. I'm tying in materials with Semperfli Nano Silk 30 denier olive. I'm just taking our thread to the bend of the hook. And for tailing material, we're using Coq de Leon. This color is Grizzly Pardo, even though this pelt to me looks more like light done, dirty Grizzly Pardo. But it makes an excellent mayfly tail. I stripped about 10 to 12 Coq de Leon fibers off of a feather, and I'm measuring about the length of the hook for my tail and tying it in. The trick to tying this in is to start it on your side of the hook and use thread torque to bring it up over top. This will make sure the fibers lay on top, just like you want. To split the tails, I'm going to be using a length of Semperfli 12-aught thread. I'm just going to wrap it around the bend of the hook, kind of doubling it over, and then using that thread to go in between the CDL fibers to split the tail. I do it this way because nano silk is so thin that it doesn't have the body to split a tail very well. You get inconsistent results, and this gives me much more consistent tail splitting. It's okay if you take a few tries to get it just right, as I'm doing here. Once you're happy with your split, go ahead and lock down that piece of thread and lock in your split. You could also use microfib bits here, or mayfly tails, for your tailing material. They're an excellent choice. You'll just lose out on a little bit of the bird punnage value. Once my tail's in here, I'm going to bring my thread forward. For body, we're using turkey biots. This is an olive color. I'm just going to peel off one biot and then pick or snip off the brittle tip. When you tie it in, you want the valley of the fiber to face you. That'll make sure you get that good segmented look when you start wrapping it forward. So just bring it all the way back to the tail. Bring your thread forward up behind the eye. Then I'm going to use my rotary function to make touching wraps going forward. Once you're up behind the eye of the hook, make a few wraps to lock it in. And then you can pull or snip off the feather. Here I failed on pulling it off, so I gotta go. So to split our wings and give a little bit of improved visibility, I'm tying in about a quarter hank of Mcflylon yarn. You could use Trigger Point or Polypro, whichever your favorite dry fly yarn is. I like Mcflylon because I think it's a little bit easier to see. It's more opaque and a little less translucent. Next, we're going to make a small dubbing rope of dark olive UV ice stud. We're just using a small amount. And as with all ice dub, you want to use little bits at a time to build up your noodle, especially when you're making a small little dubbing noodle. And right where our Mcflylon's tied in, we're going to create a little bit of a dubbing ball. This will help prop up the CDC wings. So for the wings, I'm using Dark Dun Trout Hunter CDC. I'm using 2 feathers, I've aligned the tips, and I'm tying it in about the length of the body. What I tend to do with these wings is air long, and then I can make a few loose wraps to kind of get them oriented correctly and then pull forward to length. This ensures they stay on the top of the hook and you get the perfect wing length. Once you have them where you want them, go ahead and lock in that CDC and snip off the butt ends. Now we're going to grab our Mcflylon and split the wings in half. This will give that split wing mayfly look. This is how Antonio's BWO splits her wings. I really like his pattern and the way he does his wings, so I've used it on my fly here. Shout out to Antonio's BWO. So we kind of bring the Mcflylon forward a little bit with our thread to give us enough of a little area to catch it as we fold it back on itself to prop it upright. And then snip the yarn about the length of the wings. So that'll give you a nice white patch to see on the water, and you can see how it splits the 2 CDC wings in half. So to finish the head of this fly, I'm taking half of a Dark Dun CDC feather and kind of preening the fibers out. To get the look we want to cut these fibers at an angle with shorter fibers at the bottom and longer fibers at the top. This will give us a nice taper to our dubbing loop. So I've got them in a clip. I'm going to be using a split thread technique for my dubbing loop. If you want to uncord your thread, take a bodkin and split the thread in half. Open up the loop with your finger and then slip your CDC in there. Again, longer fibers on top, shorter fibers below, because we're going to be wrapping this forward. So the longer fibers will be away from the eye of the hook. Once you got them in, go ahead and twist up your dubbing loop. The more you twist this up, the more secure the fibers will be, so take your time to spin it real good. Once you got your dubbing loop ready, start taking forward wraps and preening back each set of fibers, each new wrap you make. This will help give you a cleaner eye and give you that fibers kind of going back towards the tail of the hook look that gives it a super buggy impression. Next, we're going to take our little Tiemco Midge whip finish tool and make 6 whip finish wraps. And then what's nice about Nano Silk is you can crank down on it. So right here, I'm pulling it back towards the tail of the fly. That'll help clean up the eye. And I'm snipping out a few misbehaving fibers here. Our last step is I'm just going to clean up some of the CDC fibers that look a little unruly. It's okay if you want it. You can keep it as buggy as you want, but I'm going to take a look at the underside of this fly because that's what really matters, is the profile from below. And in a second here, I'm going to look at it and see that it's a little too bulked up and buggy to my liking, so I'm gonna, you can see it's kind of, there's a little too much there, so I'm gonna go in and pluck a few out in the bottom, and now like you get that nice real buggy look from below. And once I do that, your infallible BWO is done. Look, it's got that great profile from below. It sits low on the water but floats high. You know, trout really seem to love it. I encourage you to go out and tie up a few. And if you're not a tyer, they're available in my shop. Anyway, here are some fish catches. There we go. Nice. On the dry. Cool. I don't know if it's midges or BWOs. I need to take a closer look, so I might just, I've got the BWO on, I might throw it over them, and then if I need to throw a corn fed midge, I can. Oh, that's kind of a nicer fish that came up right there. Oh, yep, BWOs it is. This is In-fowl-ible mayfly, In-fowl-ible BWO. Fowl is in turkey, chicken, and duck, because it's got turkey Biot, duck CDC, and Coq de Leon tail. That's actually a really pretty fish. Wow, look at how pretty that fish is. Alright, so that was what, the first or second cast? Well, that's in a spot that's going to be tough to get to. Oh, we got it.